Hi, welcome to Rambling on RV.
Have you ever tried to hook up a satellite dish for your rig? Today we're going to show you how. What we know so far is these foil hats do not bring in a satellite signal.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars.
Okay, so we bought a dish receiver and a king satellite dish. Today we're going to start out by pulling out the receiver box and getting it hooked up to our TV. Once we do that, we'll go outside to the outside of the rig, we'll set up the satellite dish, and we'll hook that right into the rig, and that will feed into this TV. So stay tuned while we go through this process. This is the HDMI cable, and I should let you know, we bought this dish and box used. It had only been used a couple of times by the previous owner, and we got a really good deal on it, so it's kind of a crapshoot whether or not everything is going to work. We're hoping it does. It probably will. And let me get this HDMI cable hooked up, and we'll go from there, because that's kind of the first step. And then of course powering up the box and registering it once we get the dish hooked up outside. And then we should be good to go. All right, well, okay, so we had our first snag, which it happens. This coaxial input on the back of the receiver box here, we need to be able to run into this box so it's getting the signal from the dish. So I need to figure out how to route that. But what we have done so far is we have hooked up the box to the TV with the HDMI cable, and this is a Keystone Sprinter, and they notoriously, everyone on all of the forums complain that these TVs are ridiculously hard to get off the wall. That's a good and a bad thing. The good news is the TV's not going to pop off while you're going down the road. The bad thing is when you're trying to do something like hook up an HDMI cable, it gets very tricky. You kind of almost have to do it by feel. So we got that part done, and we didn't get a divorce. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out how we're going to route our satellite into this box. There is an outlet coming in that looks like it's an input outlet to this TV, which would allow us to feed the box from our outlet outside. So our big question right now is, do we want to do that and try to figure out how to connect the box that way, or do we want to literally run the cable, the coaxial cable, from this box out to the satellite itself, the dish, via a window or through the slide out? We'll probably are going to opt to go through the slide out because it's so difficult to get to the outlets that are located behind the TV. So that's the plan right now, is to try to get it set up running the cable out of the slide out. Okay, so now I've pulled the user's guide out, which is something I really don't like doing, because that means I have to read and pay attention. But for this next step, just to make sure I get the satellite up and running off of the dish correctly, I'm probably going to thumb through this document and act like I'm reading it so that Donna thinks I'm reading it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, hi. So this is the coaxial cable that we're going to run in through the, I said slide out earlier, we've decided we're going to go in through the window, which if you watched our WeBoost video a couple of episodes ago, that's how we ran that cable as well. We just, we like that because you can kind of crack open the screen and just feed it in, and all of the stuff that everything needs to connect to is pretty much right there by that window. So that's going to work for us, or we're going to try to make that work. And so the next step here for now is we'll pull out the King satellite dish. The dish is actually inside of this box, and you really don't have to open this box at this point for any reason. The dish will actually find the satellite and pull the signal in, and it does that automatically. Okay, so we've hooked up the King satellite dish outside here. We have run the black coaxial cable to the window. We've set it inside the window because we're going to show you what we do with it on the inside of the camper. And then one of the other things we did is a while back, we purchased a bumper mount toy lock with a retractable cable. And the idea when we purchased it was that we could lock our electric bikes up to it, and we are going to try using it to lock up our satellite dish so that somebody doesn't walk away with it. It will be a deterrent. It would not necessarily stop them if they really wanted it, but it's just one precaution we thought we would take. So I'm going to pull that out and hook it up. This is a handy little unit. You can get these on Amazon. They're called Toy Lock. They come in several different versions depending on the application you plan to use. So I'm going to loop that through the handle, just like that. Okay, so this is our handy little receiver box that hands the signal from the dish off to the receiver box inside the rig. We're going to use the cable that's coming in from our window because it goes outside and it is fed right from the dish. So so I've got incoming coming in through the window here because it goes out to the dish, and I've got outgoing that I just put on the box here, and I'm going to run it into the satellite receiver, and I'm going to plug in the power unit. I'm feeding the box to hand off its signal into the receiver box. Okay, we've decided to keep this on the floor, at least for now. We may figure out a better way to do it and get it up on the shelf. It's too deep for the shelf, at least right now. Donna thinks she has a way to mount it here using some command strips and or very strong two-way tape. But so the idea would be to get it up on this shelf if we can. But for today, we're going to keep it on the floor just because it's an open spot and it's easy to get to. So we're going to power up this box and we'll be right back with you. Okay, so see this? This is my controller. This is the instruction manual. Let's think about which one of these is more important. So, we have it all hooked up. We have the boxes down here. We've got the one box that receives the signal from the dish and then feeds it into the actual receiver unit that selects channels and allows us to select what we want to watch. And that box is wired in with an HDMI cable from the box to the television. So the only thing left for us to do is to contact Dish Network, their activation line, and get this thing activated. We chose to use the month-to-month service because we're not always on the road in our RV. So when we go on the road, we can just call them and activate. You got to pay a month at a time. Even if you're only out for a weekend, you still got to pay for the whole month. But that's worth it to us because one of the things we do, you already know, we don't like to hike. So we use our hiking time as TV time. And that's why this is so important to me. And you'll see etched on the back is my name. Donna is not allowed to use these controllers. All right, honey, you can use it sometimes. Anyway, we're real happy that we've got this ready to go. We'll get it activated, and on our next trip, we'll have satellite TV, safe and secure because we used our toy lock cable to lock it up outside.
So we hooked up the dish receiver and we had to call Dish Network, and what we discovered was that it was a whole long involved process that you guys didn't need to participate in. So we have discovered that this receiver, as we told you, we bought it used, and it's about 4 or 5 year old model. And so the guy's telling us, you know, it's slower and it's this and it's that, and you can get a brand new receiver for $99. And as we're trying to hook it up, it took like 30 minutes to download all of the information that it needed, and we would have that process every time we wanted to hook up the satellite from wherever we were at. So both of us got frustrated. We decided that we would go ahead and order the new dish. It is on its way. It should be here by this weekend, we hope. And we will try to do a follow-up with you guys and let you know if we got it working or not. you know, for us, getting the satellite dish was kind of a commitment that we hadn't jumped into yet. We were still streaming all of our television programming through the Wi-Fi, and it was working okay, but we're a big TV no, Karl's a big TV watcher, and it seemed like a really important thing that we would want eventually. So we thought we would go the used route, and I'm not saying that don't go that way, because you know, you can usually save a considerable amount of money, but there's a trade-off, right? And so sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and this time it wasn't perfect. We think that the satellite dish itself is going to be fine. We'll wait till we get the new receiver and see how it goes. We'll update you guys when we find out. So don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that little bell. Put some comments down below if there's any questions you have or anything we can share with you guys. We'd love to hear what you want to hear from us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much.